Welcome back to Arkansas Bigfoot, everybody. Glad everybody showed up with us today. We thought we'd better come back and check out Junior's little man cave area since the water started to go down. It's been about a week since we've been back here and wanted to check it all out and see if anything's moved around or anything out of the ordinary. As wet as this has been back here, I don't know if he's been back here hiding out in this stuff or not, but
look for feet while we're here.
shoes moved over a little bit, and that spot where that ball had been hidden looks like it's knocked down or caved in a little deeper.
And poor shoe. Getting right after this road.
That leaning tree right there and that little sapling.
That fresh one that's peeled?
Yeah, it's all freshly peeled. All the bark is ripped off of it.
I don't remember it.
No, it wasn't like that. When we were out here last week, it wasn't like that. Glance over here on this trail leading out behind the pond.
Just kind of notice.
Here's something over there.
It's got him riled up.
Sounds like that young one huffing.
Yeah.
It's coming from way around the other side of the pond in that tall brush.
It's kind of a
Well, if you watch my little morning coffee break video, we've gotten some more rain since then. Doesn't take it long. Sunshine comes out and then the rain pours. Well, I got an idea that I'm going to try from Avi whenever I go back to the store. He was joking around that he thought that morning coffee break video was going to have Junior coming up drinking out of my coffee mug, which that wouldn't surprise me either. But
Don't tell me you're You're gonna
all
caffeinate
jokes,
Jesus.
yeah, all jokes aside, I'm gonna get a bag of coffee beans and leave him some coffee beans out here and get him all jacked up on caffeine. Let's see if that does anything for him.
Maybe just one or two. I'm thinking the way those young ones, if they get a hold of them,
So if we have him swinging from the trees like Tarzan, you can thank Avi for that idea.
Great.
I wish this camera would record in 3D so they could see the depth of all of the thick tangle and vines and all of that stuff.
It's really beautiful though. Started noticing more in the videos of their presence, and it feels like they're really I think it's almost I'm careful with the word merging, but I think because we've been out here so much, it's almost they've acclimated to our energy well enough that we're starting to be able to really capture a little more every time we shoot.
It's kind of the process of just coming out and sitting with my coffee and stuff, trying to get in tune with the woods and the area and kind of be in sync with all of it.
Screeched.
Well, I think one of the things I wanted to bring up today, because it deserves a thorough discussion, or at least a explanation, is, and this goes to a comment I received recently about understanding why we choose to call the Sasquatch a people. I guess their side of the, I wouldn't necessarily say their side of the argument, but their side of the thought process was that, you know, different animals had thinkability, but we don't call them a people. Why would we call the Sasquatch a people? And That's very, very true. A lot of herd animals, a lot of domesticated animals, wolf packs, things like that, they all have extreme thinkability. They have a pecking order. They have, a conscious thought process to a lot of things that they do. That doesn't qualify them as a type of a people. But let's take this a few steps further based on our own experience and what we've discovered and examined out here. We've got glyph structures everywhere. So that in and of itself is a type or a form of symbol writing. That's a form of a higher intelligence. We know that they have a language because we have picked that up on audio. So that is definitely a higher form of consciousness. Not something that you could diminish down to being just a standard animal. They have a very, very structured group process in the way that they interact with each other, in the way that we've felt and seen them interact with us. This is by far a lot higher thought form, and that's why we call them a people. And it's no different than going back to ancient Neanderthals and Denisovians and all of that. They were a type of a people that aren't a modern Homo sapien, but yet they were still a people.
A lot of people have asked, pertaining to Anku, what he prefers that they be called, and the answer that comes back is the people. And it's the people. It's just that simple, but it's about unity. It's about oneness. It's about...
Well, that's the simplified word that he gives you, because the name that he says is so many...
It's much bigger.
Vowels and syllables that it...
But the interpretation is the people. That's another problem with the English vocabulary. In Spanish and certain languages, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling in various words, and they describe much more proficiently
the feeling
of what's trying to be communicated. And unfortunately, in our English language, we have lost that art, to a great degree.
We have to put together 6 words to describe one feeling.
And it's barely covering it.
But Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Oma, Yowie, Yeren, whichever name you prefer to call them, they are an extremely ancient type of people. They have been here longer than we have. They've been here longer than a lot of the pre-Homo sapien people types have been here. And they'll continue to be here long after we change again. I like this time of day out here.
I was feeling somebody on the hill.
We have left different objects and things back here that they have picked up and rearranged and utilized and made some pretty remarkable things with. That's not something that your typical shallow animal is going to focus and concentrate on. They're able to
there's an exchange.
They're able to manipulate energies and manifest themselves in different form and fashion, whether it's full-on physical or in an in-between state or in just a shimmering vapor sometimes. But this is...
And it just distinctly comes back that they are our brother. I mean, it really resonates in my heart space. And I can feel that. I can feel the connection. Do I understand all of it yet? No. But I can feel it. It doesn't mean that they're all operating in the same vibration that ours might be operating in. But genetically speaking, there's so much more to this than we realize, and it's definitely taking some getting out of the box mentally and realizing that there is so much of history, so much of evidence that's missing, not so much for these people, but for history. Huge gaps. Huge gaps. And even when they're carbon dating, are they correct? I don't know.
Well, even the ones that do the carbon dating on stuff, when they talk about it, they say that it's a fine-tuned scientific guesstimation.
It's within so many years, yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure compared to what we used to have, it's got to be much closer.
Now go ahead and fix that up unless you see anything screaming at you over there.
Literally or otherwise?
Literally or otherwise.
You notice that it's just pouring rain in like one spot and then it stops? It's so weird. Too weird over here. Normal.
But there are definitely a lot of facets about the Sasquatch that when you've spent time trying to develop any kind of steady interaction, you realize that it's more than just something that you saw passing through the woods or along the roadside or scared you while you were camping or otherwise. It's easy to dismiss it as just this great wild animal in the wilderness when you've just had the brief momentary interactions, and I understand that. On the surface, they're pretty intimidating in every way, shape, and form. And you dig a little deeper and there's a lot of layers to that onion.
I think part of that intimidation process is it's sort of a testing ground, a rite of passage with them.
It's that, and it's also their safety feature.
Yep.
You know, let's take humans, for example. It's the little bitty tiny guy that wants to get up in everybody's face like the banty rooster and
climb their back.
Climb their back and want to fight and want to argue and want to pick and poke and prod. And the great big guy is usually the one that's laid back, easy going. He's the one physically capable of tearing down a brick house with his bare hands. But
it's ironic.
Usually they're the ones that you couldn't get to move if you stuck a keg of black powder under their rear end. So in some ways it's kind of a testing to see what your action or reaction will be. A lot of ways it's their self-defense mechanism. They want to grumble and growl, and that's your little warning to say, this is my spot over here, you stay in your spot over there.
Yeah. I just feel like there's it's a higher, at least with these guys, the way they've shown it to us, it's kind of a higher test to see what level of love / acceptance we hold, you know, to gauge where we are in our place, in our body, in our human experience, whatever fits you. And maybe that's one of the few ways they have to test that, to know that, as to what place of acceptance you might be in for the experience. I'm not sure, but it's just a thought.
Well, we're getting closer to this second area back here, and it reminded me of something. You know, we've made those Orgone blocks and brought them out, and they found the first 3, and they used them to make a stone circle and glyphs around it. And from the interpretation from Anku, that is kind of like a calendar, a timepiece marker for things as they shift and evolve for us out here. I made another little Orgone block and hid it out here, and they found it and put it with the others. So what that reminded me of was something I wanted to make mention, is I've been working on some little handmade items that, you know, we're going to offer to everybody once I get them all put together, and I'll make a little video of it and show you what we have. But there's one thing Rachel's wearing today I wanted to point out.
It's a little Orgone Bigfoot. Sasquatch.
It's a little Sasquatch, and it's a little Orgone pendant.
Mm-hmm.
Got copper and steel and aluminum and quartz, mm-hmm. and a little Sasquatch resin pendant. But
it's actually kind of cool for me because it's very grounding, and I need that. Trust me when I tell you I need that. But it's also, you can feel it buzzing. You can feel that it's creating a reaction within you, and it's not hyper. I mean, it's not anything you can't handle. But
one lady had asked me exactly
awesome.
What Orgone was or what it did, and there is such a plethora of different applications for it, and you could spend days or weeks researching all of its abilities on different videos and mm-hmm. online and stuff. But one of the main factors that it does, at least for us and for out here, the frequencies that are all over the place, a lot of them are trash frequency, or what you might consider a negative. Mm-hmm. And it filters out and kind of blocks out a lot of that negative to allow the positive mm-hmm. frequencies to flow easier.
Yeah, it's just It's kind of like a highway lane being closed down for one while the other one keeps going. It's just, like I said, for me, it's grounding. So far, it's been great. I've never tried wearing Orgone, so I test it, but I have to watch if I have hematite or certain stones that are known to be grounding. They're almost too grounding for me. They bring me down so far that they're almost depressing. Whereas other stones that would invigorate my system, like the Orgone, some of those like really skyrocket my energy. So it's nice so far to find something in between. This is Big Daddy. There's his toes. And his big fat heel.
Good Lord.
Yeah. He's beautiful.
Well, that means there should
Sorry,
be
it just shot up and smacked me in the forehead. It's like, don't miss me.
But anyway, I'm working on some different little Orgone pendants to offer, and of course we've got the dowsing rods that I make, and I've got some other things that I'm working on. Once I get it all together here in the next week or so, I'll post a little video with a link if you would like to help, kind of support our peanut butter fund out here, and maybe the 50-pound bag of coffee beans for Junior or something like that.
Yeah, how much of that do you think Junior's gonna get?
I might get a little bit of it out of there, but
I am rationing his beans for a good reason. Nah, Junior's awesome. There's something going on back there in front of me.
But there'll be some different little surprises in the stuff that I'll lay out there and show you, and got some different pendant molds and things like that coming. So once everything's organized and arranged, we'll put it out there if anyone would like to help support what we're doing out here. There's a lot of things that they're able to teach us, Rachel and I, on a lot of levels that maybe other people will get the chance to experience down the road if they choose to pursue it on an in-depth level like this. But it's still a learning process, and we still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
guess we're good. It all looks like it did the other day. Well, I guess we're going to get this tree fixed up and then hike over to the mound area, because Rachel's got a project going on over there and we need to tend to it. So we will catch you guys later down the trail. Appreciate you coming in. Thanks.